Welcome back to the MartiniWorks Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like I can't believe it's already Friday.
Hi.
Black Friday.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone.
Since it is Black Friday, we do get half off podcast energy, right? So podcast only 30 minutes long today?
No.
No? Okay.
Everyone just left.
Kidding. Why
Yeah,
does it-
you just lost.
Why do I seem
What are you
so...
doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not...
Well, how
are
do
you
I
too
turn
loud?
myself up? I want to hear... Ooh.
Jesus.
Oh, now you're messing gels all
Jesus.
up. Alex is destroying the podcast for Black Friday is what's going on.
Sorry.
I'll make it 30 minutes.
Welcome back. We hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving, which was hopefully filled with
Food.
turkey that wasn't dry.
Turduckins.
Yeah, Alex doesn't like turkey, just so you know. So if you want to hate him for that, I hate him for that.
Listen, my family, we never really got into it too much. My dad he from Mexico, and so a lot of our family, we cooked Hispanic dishes for Thanksgiving because we never really could figure out how to make turkey not suck.
It is a process.
Yeah,
to
it's
be honest,
tough.
I've never made turkey. Where people
Yeah.
put it in the fucking deep fryer
Well,
and
then
stuff. That's
on
scary.
top of that too, it's like you do all this work. It takes a ton of time. I've watched the families and the movies try to cook up this turkey, and at the end of the day, the meat's just kind of like meh.
No,
Like,
you
it's just,
can have good turkey. You can
No. You want to know what's good about turkey?
What?
The gravy you put on top of it. At that point, the turkey's just turkey. Put turkey next to ham. People are going to choose ham 9-1.
I
every
would
time.
not. I would not. My
I
wife
don't
wouldn't
believe you.
either.
I don't believe you.
Dude, turkey's
ham or
good.
turkey.
I prefer turkey, honestly.
Oh,
If it comes to like a sandwich,
Yeah.
turkey all day.
Oh, 100%.
you
There's
guys
much,
are
you
so
can put turkey
weird.
on a roll with some cheese and mayo or mustard.
how many things do you have to add on to turkey to make it good?
You
That's
can
all I
eat
gotta
it straight
say.
too. I'd
No.
eat it straight as well.
Ham, dude.
When we eat ham,
ham
generally we
gang,
put it on a bun,
ham
too.
gang. So while you guys are here, let us know in the comments if you're team
Turkey or
ham
ham.
or team turkey.
Why
With
don't you
that
go to
being-
your underground lair if you love ham so much?
I
a
do-
Ham Society member.
I do love
Pink
a
robe
good,
looking
a
ass.
good ham. Okay, here's a couple things to say here because it is Black Friday. I would feel bad if I didn't bring it up. Number one, thank you guys and gals so much for the support leading up to this
my
week.
God.
This time last year, Gels was manually uploading Kansai product pages one by one as people were asking.
Yeah,
for
y'all
Kansai.
were like, hey, I want KMPs. I'm like, I ain't got KMPs.
And we went from that to, I think just last week, we uploaded 1,200 new SKUs onto
Holy
the website.
jeez,
We have
like
a
that.
website that works. It's quick. It's fast. Lars and Schnell and Carissa and the whole gang, Hamby, Gels and Dakota and myself, as well as Dustin and Greg, we've all been putting in as much work as humanly possible to make today a good, easy day for everyone that's looking to modify their car. So if you are looking for the homie hookup, ModYourCarMartiniWorks.com. Even though you may be upset with me about the turkey comment, I still stand by it. I think turkey's lame. I think ham is so much better.
I'm not even, you know what? I realize I'm not mad at you. I don't hate you. You just haven't had good turkey.
There's a
And
chance.
that's not your fault.
There's
That's
a
not your
chance.
fault.
Becca and I got this little turkey, like a mini turkey. I'm gonna try
You're
my
losing me.
best to
Little
make.
turkey?
I'm gonna try my best to make it, as good as I can.
A little turkey is a chicken.
And I love chicken. What are we talking about today, Dakota?
All right, so I was curious on your guys' thoughts. We've been talking about wheels a lot lately and stuff like that, but bringing it over to the suspension side of things, lowering springs versus coilovers versus air suspension.
Okay.
One, is air suspension still a viable option? Are people still going air, or is that trend kind of slowing down with air suspension on vehicles? And then number two, do people need to be dropping the money on coilovers, or should they just get lowering springs? What are your guys' thoughts?
That's a good one.
Oof. Yeah.
I think off the cuff, there's a lot of new cars coming with electronically adjustable suspension options, which when you just switch over to coilovers, you do get rid of that, which can kind of be
Well,
a
some
downer.
companies, though, are starting to either include cancelers or just
Integrate
plugins
it.
that work with the
so BC just
system.
dropped or is dropping a new line that is supposed to work with that. You're supposed to be able to retain
It's
all of
coming.
that.
It's coming. It's still new and stuff like that. Getting cancelers is annoying. So
Yeah, I see both sides because it's like, in my opinion, coilovers night and day for the most part easier to install than lowering springs. Because lowering springs, not only you gotta do the same amount of work, like taking everything out,
Just to put
but then
springs
you
in.
have to also dismantle the actual bomb that is your strut assembly.
okay, if I could do it though with my buddy, when I was
you
like
can do it.
18.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad because what you can do, let's say you want to do lowering springs. If you have a normal strut assembly, what you're going to do is you're going to go to like AutoZone or O'Reilly's. You're going to rent your spring compressor.
Yep.
And then you just latch it on, tighten it down. It's not that sketchy, really. Yeah. It really isn't. It's gotten pretty good. And then you can return the tool. It doesn't cost anything. So I would say, I don't know. I would say lowering springs and coilovers about the same difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
To install.
I think where lowering springs and coilovers get their biggest difference outside of like the adjustability to ride height is just sometimes you're still not getting as much of a response out of a set of aftermarket lowering springs as you would with coilovers.
Right.
Because the shock is remaining the same.
Yes, because and a lot of your behavior, you get a lot of behavior adjustment out of a spring change, but you get a ton of behavior change when you start messing with the shock and the damper and all of that, because that fluid and how it actually moves through the shock is really important for what you want. Now, if you're just daily driving a car, maybe you've got an older, funkier car, because I have seen people with some unique platforms, you know, kind of reaching out and asking for help. Lowering springs is sometimes the more feasible option, just because you're not playing with so much of the top hat and all of that stuff. You're just playing with the spring itself.
At that point, you just need a spring that is the right diameter, the right spring rate, and the right length.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like you can go find those all day long. It's like those are much more cross-compatible among, you know, a lot of options, especially, like you said, if you have like a really funky vehicle out there.
But to be fair, airlift, I mean, I don't think they're necessarily, like, I don't think it's trending downwards. I just think like the concept around it is changing a little bit.
I just have seen show cars, I don't know, change so much recently. I agree.
Yeah.
Still, I see a ton of baked cars nonstop, but I'm wondering as we go into 2025, and I'm sure we'll make a video on it, kind of our trend expectations. I just still see people being so inspired by time attack, race car type builds and functionality that I was curious if you guys thought it would slow down in the future. I think airlift needs to come out swinging. I think it's been standardized. It's been pretty much the same, and we've been running 3S or 3H, and that's been... Or sorry, 3P or 3H. 3S was an option, but that kind of fizzled out a little bit. I think 3P is the number one go-to if you're looking at air suspension. 3P is the king right now, I would say. But it's been the same for years and years and years.
And it's like the price hasn't come down at all.
That's the one thing I will say. It is a little weird.
It's
to
so
see,
expensive
because nowadays anything that's been out for long enough, typically the price starts to come down.
It's
right?
like, as it gets improved upon, it gets easier. You know, there's more competition in the marketplace. Like, and maybe that's what it is too. I know, like, you know, you have brands like D2. I think Bag Riders makes their own stuff now, even too. It's like, you know, there is that little bit of competition in there, but I don't know, nothing enough to drive that price down, because I feel like forever it's been like $3,500 if you want to bag your car, like $4,000 if you want to bag your car, and that's a fuck ton of money.
It is a lot of money
put into your like suspension like that,
and you also have to be committed to it, because it's not something that you can necessarily like go back on. You know what I mean? So it's like once you're in that game, you're in that game.
I mean, you absolutely can.
You can go back. It's just,
but you're not.
Might have a couple extra holes in the car.
Yeah, but you're not going to. Like, you're so committed to it. It's not a modification that you can be like, it's not really for me, and just remove it. Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, you can. It's like, yes, you can, but you're not going to.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, because I honestly thought about it with the RX-8 for a while. And there was no issues with air suspension or anything. It was just like one of those, like, kind of, I don't know. It's like I wanted to try, you know, I wanted, like, the RX-8, you know, the chassis itself for that car is so good. And it's like, you know, I did enjoy kind of like driving it really hard those couple times that we brought out to the track or something like that. I'm like, I wonder what this would actually be capable of if we like did like a track setup on it, right? And so like I did think about it, but then it's like, but like then, you know, like the body kit and the fitment we have on it, if you know, like it is nice to be able to adjust. And it was just like kind of that peace of mind thing where it's like I can, you know, once I was in it, I was like, I have this, I'm just gonna keep it.
Yeah, I would say the price is definitely an issue, which is why it's so funny, because like when Airlift sent us the email, because right now it's Black Friday, you guys
10% off.
10% off.
It's actually like the best deal you can get on it.
It's literally the largest dollar value savings. It's like $440, I think, is what it comes off as a discount.
Yeah.
And we see people buying it now at 10% off, but it gets a little more sparse when the deal isn't there. And it's like, I totally understand why. With $4,000, you can get a set of really nice wheels, really good tires, and coilovers, plus probably an intake for the same exact price as just air suspension.
Yeah, you can completely change your car for the amount of money that it costs to bag your car.
But to be fair, I will say this. A lot of people will say like, oh, I don't want to run air suspension because I want to go on the track. It's like, I don't know if you'll have the level of issue as you think if you were to track your car on air suspension. Yeah, I just don't think it's that bad.
We've talked about this before too. You 100% can. Is it ideal, and are you going to see the most success out of it? Not necessarily, but what it really boils down to, it's like you wouldn't bag your car specifically to go on the track, right? Like if your main point is to go on the track, you're gonna get coilovers. Like this is what you do. Like that would make the most sense. Not saying that one can't do the other. It's just, it just makes more sense.
Our buddy Mario bagged his R35 GTR and he took it to Road America. He survived.
He did
survive.
With no
track experience. I want you guys to remember Mario and just him being on a racetrack, dude. That's just like a wild thought process to me.
Yeah. As I was saying, I was like, damn, he did do that. That was crazy. Good for him.
And he drove it all year round, winter and everything.
All right, bringing it back to coilovers, lowering springs. Yeah. What are some myths around spring rates? People, I feel like this is the offset of wheels is spring rates on coilovers and stuff. There's an idea of it, but people don't understand it. What do you need for spring rates going into a car?
Some people think if you're going for like a static fitment, like something really good, that you need like 100, 300K springs or some shit like that. Or that, if you have really tight fitment, that it's going to ride like ass. And it's like, no, that's not necessarily the case. Yeah, spring rate does have a big factor and stuff, but like when we talked to the guys at like Fortune Auto and like we went and visited them and like really got to learn about like how they build those coilovers and how like when you get custom valving done with that, how much it affects it. The digressive piston that comes in like the 500s and the DS series of BC Racing and all that kind of stuff plays such an important role in the overall feel that you've always said like, dude, you had your Evo absolutely dumped and it felt great. Like it rode phenomenal is because of that like setup in there, that those internals of that coilover, because that's specifically designed for when you have like a fast impact, it's going to soften up a little bit versus when it's just a slower impact, it's going to remain a little bit stiffer. That's the point of that digressive piston. So it's like, there's so much more going on than just how stiff your spring is.
The Japanese car enthusiasts have nailed this down, which is why when you hear about like 50 or 100K springs coming from like 326 power, that all originated from Japan because when you throw in coilovers in a car in Japan, you didn't have to get it respect. If you threw an air suspension or something like that, you did. And so what these folks wanted was like the tightest, dopest fitment without having to worry about anything else. And so they would slam these Supras and these NSXs. They still do like as close as they can. They throw 50K or 100K springs at it because they know that they're not going to end up dealing with any scraping issues.
They just don't want it to move.
But if you want to have, their cars do have a tendency to also ride like shit, where it's like over here, if you want to get that, you can get that. You don't have to go as aggressive. Usually what I'd say is like, if you're looking to understand what spring rate you want, you really have to understand what you're going to do with the car. And if you're trying to just kind of do a little bit of everything, just go with the default springs. Like don't try to just change things because you have the opportunity to change things. Right. A lot of times I make that mistake all the time. It's like, oh, you gave me a choice to change something, I'm gonna change it. And then it's like, God, I don't like it as much. It's like, well, dipshit, you should have just went with what they recommend. Fortune Auto and BC and those guys, they do an expert job at that. They know what spring rate should be in a 350Z or a Chaser or Corvette or anything like that because they've sold a billion jillion kits of it. But if you do want, something special or if you want some additional advice, just reach out. We'd be happy to help you with that. We have really great connections with both of those guys. We'd be able to help you out with that because spring rate is one of those things. The higher you go, the stiffer it is going to get. And also, the stiffer the spring, you'll notice sometimes has an adverse impact on the performance of the strut.
Yes.
They work in conjunction with each other, so it's not so much of like, oh, I'll go with a really stiff spring and a really soft strut, and that should like balance it out. There's like these little pockets, these windows of when everything works together, it works super well. But if you start going wonky with one or wonky with the other, it can make your car ride like absolute shit. You don't want your car to be bouncy either, which we did with the R34 when we threw it in. Like
very bouncy.
Very stiff, right? You don't want it to be so stiff that you're bouncing around because you're essentially reducing traction in corners when that tire lifts and you want to keep it.
We had that thing freaking tightened up. We got it fixed though. That was on us. It was super weird. I never had dealt with a coilover with like the helper spring before. And apparently that helper spring was the main way to lower that whole setup. And I've never dealt with that. So we're trying to like,
it was weird.
Lower it normally like a coilover, like, like just raise up that lower like body. But then it was just a weird combination of stuff that we had adjusted because we were at the track and we just got to get this thing in. And it was ridiculously just like trying to bounce us off the track. But it's all good now. We figured it out.
Somebody might have questions about Swift springs, and I think I'd just like touch on that for a second.
Yeah.
BC Fortune Auto, they offer what's called like a Swift spring upgrade. And a lot of people are just asking like, what is it? Like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? So Swift springs is essentially just like a branded spring that's called Swift Springs, and founded in Japan, actually in Tokyo. They've been around for a long time. But Swift Springs has a proprietary technology and material that they use for their springs. And what that results in is, let's say you have like a standard spring has, we'll call it 10 coils to get the necessary spring rate. Swift will have like 6 or 7. It has less coils per standard spring, which makes it lighter.
Sure.
And it's also much more sensitive of a material than something like a standard like coiled steel spring. And so a lot of people will ask like, is it worth it? Is it important? If you care about weight and you care about having a little bit more sensitivity in your spring, I would say absolutely. Like, you'll notice a substantial difference in weight between a Swift spring and a standard spring. If you don't care and you're just looking to lower your car, not typically worth it. But I will say the R34, the S2000 both have Swift spring upgrades. The M4 has a Swift spring upgrade. Dude, incredible.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole coil over. Yeah.
Is it worth?
It's worth like the $300 if you plan on using it. If you're not going to use the tech, no.
They also make just lowering springs too,
Yeah.
which I've heard are really good coming from I've been trying to figure out what we want to do with like the Type R, for instance, and everyone recommends if you're going to go with a lowering spring, go with the Swift spring upgrade.
Yeah.
Or just like the Swift spring lowering springs.
Yeah.
Because apparently, one, they do a really good job at even drop because lowering springs, you don't get a ton of drop in them. But the Swift ones, they said you get technically like a little bit more, but the most important thing is that it's even front to back a lot more than like the iBox or stuff.
I'm always kind of surprised to not hear like iBox or H&R doing like an upgrade on a coiler. I'm assuming they probably supply the coils for some of these suspension companies. You always hear of a Swift spring upgrade, but I've never been like, I've never had a bad experience with iBox, for instance, which more of the older stuff.
Swift is JDM.
Yeah, that's true.
But
everyone loves Japanese.
But I'm surprised like
I had iBox in my
like
Eclipse.
But I'm surprised like H&R or somebody hasn't been like,
But not like
we'll do an upgrade on a
spring.
Corvette.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a weird thing with like cross branding.
Or it could be the fact, I mean,
or maybe Swift just got it locked in.
I don't know.
dude, like-
you're right. Swift's like the only one that you hear upgrading coilers,
you
and they're dominating. BC, Fortune Auto,
And
Silvers.
And Swift does have like 50K springs. They can get
they
super
get
high
pretty
up
rowdy.
there. 326 isn't the only one that does it. With that being said, we're going to take a small break, but I do just want to let you guys know, because it is Black Friday, I'm going to rattle off some of the promotions that we have going on.
Hit them with the good stuff.
I'll hit you with the good stuff. So first off, like we said, Airlift's 10% off.
That's huge.
Continental has a $110 rebate when you buy 4 tires. You pair that with something like 25% off Conseil wheels or 20% off, I believe, what do we got for Stage? Stage Wheels has that. We got Koenig is 15% off or 10% off their Forged lineup, which is super rad.
Which is already a fucking screaming deal for Koenig.
Dude, you pair a set of Stage Wheels and Conti tires. Stage Wheels being, I think, 20% off, 110 on. You're saving like $400 for a wheel and tire package right now. K&N is $50 off if you need an intake. Let's see what else. InGen 20% off. Rohana's up to 40% off. So they're blowing out some of their inventory, but they got some rad stuff on sale. If your European car, Valtronic exhaust is running 20% off right now. BC Racing coilovers is $125 off their BR and DS series. And then we're running an exclusive deal with Fortune Auto just at MartiniWorks.com. $150 off.
Hey, yo.
500 or
That's
510
awesome.
series. So that's the only deal that they do, essentially. And we're exclusive with it for Black Friday and
That's
Cyber
sick.
Monday. There's also some other ones out there as well. If you're looking for more budget wheels, things like that, like ESR and Adahan, we do have those deals. You can go check them out if you want to. They're on the website, MartiniWorks.com. But thank you guys so much for sponsoring. Wait, what? Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, because Spotify has a video option now, the MartiniWorks podcast.
Thank you, Continental, for sponsoring.
There you go.
There it is. Conti, we've seen more Viking Contact 7 sales come through, which is always kind of funny because now
You're listening.
it's starting to snow and the interest is
Yeah.
going up.
It snowed once and it
got
went crazy.
Dumped on for a minute there, but then it melted all immediately. But
Yeah, no, seriously, though, thank you to Continental for being a partner for the MartiniWorks podcast. They've been with us since the start. They've been with us since we had the really tough website where you couldn't even buy tires. And they believed in us. And now we're coming into the end of 2024. And it's like every time we're selling a wheel and tire package, which we hope you guys are doing with MartiniWorks.com. Look at me.
I'm looking.
Yeah. Thank
Getting
you.
close to Christmas to be acting up like that.
But to have Continental on board now, I mean, it's so cool, man. We see the wheel and tire packages come through, DWS06s, Viking Contact 7s,
Lot of
ECS02s.
DWS06s.
And we're so happy because we know that you're going to have a good experience.
you're going to love them. I'm going to tell you, every single person that ordered those has never said a negative thing once about those tires. Every person that I've personally, like even in side conversation, my friends, my family, that I've got to try out Continental has said nothing but amazing things. I'm not just saying that to say it. It's 100% the honest truth. We got to reach out and choose the brands we wanted to work with. Continental was one of them, and we're so thankful that they chose to work with us too.
Cool. With that being said, we're going to take a small break. We'll be right back. So while we were sitting here, I was looking at the R34, and it was such a fun car to experience Gatlinburg with and to drive around, and we drifted it at US Air, and we took it out on Road America, and it got me thinking just about like the entirety of the car, because we were thinking, well, what's next? And I feel like the answer is like nothing. It's done. So it's like, now what? Is it more fun to enjoy the car, or was it more fun to like build the car?
It's never done.
Okay.
Cars are never done.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
that one
always
is.
something you can do.
Well, I mean, in our eyes and what we're comfortable with doing, 100%. I mean, we haven't even really touched anything under the hood,
Yeah.
and there's so much potential there.
Yeah, but there's also potential in classic RB fashion for it to blow up.
And that's which is why we haven't touched anything under the hood outside of the intake that we threw on it. But yeah, I mean, overall, like in my opinion, it's freaking perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's reliable enough we can hop in it. It's comfortable enough to take on a road trip. We swap the wheels out. It's a freaking monster on the drift track. Like it does everything pretty well except stay cool.
Yeah, the cooling system is-
cooling system would be upgraded, but it's like I think when we set out to do what we wanted to do with it, we did it, and it looks freaking incredible. I absolutely love the way that we went about that car. It wasn't anything too over the top. It was simplistic. It was achievable in my eyes. Like when we were looking at everything, that's what we wanted to do. It's like it's a GT-T. It's not a GTR. This is an achievable R34 for those that have always wanted an R34.
Yeah.
It's still within grasp.
There were some things that we could have done. I think that we didn't add to the series. I know that seats were something we wanted to
some
add
interior.
in there. What else? Downpipes?
Yeah, just like getting like the full exhaust, because there's
It's still fairly quiet.
It's super quiet,
Yeah.
and the exhaust pipe on there is so small and tiny, and it's like everything from like the turbo to like the catalytic converter obviously is still in there.
I guess it's to ask you guys maybe something that would relate to the audiences. Our global audience that we have listened to us. Every time I say the number that we spent on this car, they have a panic attack. Like they have a straight up heart attack. People from like New Zealand and Japan, and those guys are like, "You spent what on a GT-T?" And it's like, "Yeah, we did."
And we thought we got a good deal on it.
Yeah, I think before mods, that was a $40,000 investment.
I mean, I had to come across the ocean.
Yeah.
30,000 miles or 32-ish thousand miles.
Unfortunately, we never got them here.
So I guess knowing what you guys know, in the United States, obviously globally, we're going to be told that it was not a good investment. But
Right.
$50,000 all in, knowing what you've spent and enjoyed with this R34, was it a good buy?
You can get a lot of car for $50,000.
Yeah, you can.
You have a lot of choices at that price point. So that's tough. However, I'd say I've absolutely loved that car. And I think for a while I've had a kind of a stigma against older cars and not wanting them because they come with their older car issues. But this car taught me that, like, if you find the right one, if you find a nice clean one, lower mileage, stock, that's important. It wasn't all done up. And it's been treated right in its life, you can really enjoy an older car, and it almost feels like a new car, even though it is older.
Right.
You don't have the amenities, but like I trust that thing to drive to California right now. I won't even think twice about it. Like we beat the piss out of it and then drive it home. Like, it's been a phenomenal car. So I would say, to the right person, yes, it's worth it. You would need to really, really enjoy that platform, the R34, want that's a dream car for you. If you are into those, yes, 100% worth it. If you're a person where you're kind of all over the place and you don't really know what you want, I don't know if that is the car for you.
Yeah.
You'd have to really be in love with the platform, and then I think it's 100% worth it.
What do you think, Jels?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it would be 100% worth it, because I totally understand where Dakota's coming from. It's like, and it's so easy to do that, right? Especially today, it's like, damn, $50,000, you can get so much other car for $50,000. But it's like, yeah, but if I were to say to my 14-year-old self, hey, one day you're gonna have the ability to work on and wrench on and drive an R34 GT-T as much as you want, is it worth it? I would fucking 100%, because I've just got done playing Need for Speed Underground with the orange R34 on the fucking cover art that I finally unlocked and I'm like in love with and won't drive any other car now. 100%. Person to person, personally, yeah, I think 100% it is. Obviously, it's a lot of money for a 30-year-old car, or a 25-year-old car, I should say. But, dude, it's been so much fun.
There's a lot of cars in here that I think kind of carry that childhood goal. Like, I remember wanting an S2000 ever since I drove them in the video games. I remember Need for Speed Most Wanted, like even with Lars and the E42 M3 behind us. It's the R34 here. It's the car itself is, I think you're spending money on the emotional connection or kind of like that nostalgia of it. Is it worth $50,000? I mean,
that's to each their own.
It's worth whatever anybody's willing to pay for it, I guess. But with that being said, it is still a car. 276 horsepower, 5-speed manual, had a kind of limited slip differential, but it was kind of sort of booty cheek.
Yeah.
Compare this to what's probably going to be the same price. There is a part in my head that wonders, is the S15 a better pick?
See, that's what I was trying to think too, but it's like no one will ever give me a price on what S15s are going for. They're all called for price for some reason.
If you go to a website and it ever says call for price, we're too broke. You're not buying that car.
The fact that no one feels comfortable putting what the price of their S chassis is online tells me that it's too much money.
Yeah.
As I know damn well, there's no way that these S15s aren't going for $50,000, $60,000. And that's fucking crazy.
And to add to that, when you know how S13s and S14s are built from Nissan, from factory, you're like, ain't no fucking way that should be a $50,000 car. That one was meant to be a little bit of a nicer, platform, 100%. Different chassis, better interior, better this, better that. So like,
it has electronic folding mirrors.
It's like the car should be more. But I feel like some of the R34 GT-Ts are actually lower priced than the S15.
And I'd take that. I mean, I love the S15. Don't get me wrong. The S15s look fucking amazing.
So sick.
But I'd take that over an S15 for the same price. I feel like you're getting more.
I don't know. See, I'm torn because the only S15 I've ever rode in was Randy from Eliminate's S15, which was all done up and modified. Bro, in that,
sick.
That make you feel some type of way.
Did that have the SR in it yet?
I think so. It was just big turbo.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and it made all the noises.
Yeah.
I think the R34 would need to go a little further to be competitive in like a modified S15 area. But I would say like stock for stock, dude, the R34 is a very fun car. It is not like a GTR though. I want people to think about the R34 GTR as like a different car.
It's a different car.
Like
a completely different.
And
car.
I don't mean it like in the mental sense, like the physical sense. It just is an entirely different vehicle than the GT-T. This feels more like an S chassis than I feel like a GTR feels like a GT-T. If that makes any sense at all.
That makes 100% sense.
So if you guys are cool with that, then yes, it's rad. But like, what do you guys think? Is the journey of building a car more fun than enjoying the car itself?
That's a great question, because you're right. We had a lot of fun with this because everything went pretty fucking smooth with that.
Yeah, I can't remember anything that was like,
Now, answer that question, but with the S2000, what are you thinking? Are you having fun with that building process of making a track car? Is it the same, or did you have more fun when you were out driving it?
I think it was a very frustrating year for the S2000 personally, because I'd been so dedicated to getting it done and trying to do everything else at the same time with like MartiniWorks and Meta Martini and
we had a lot going on this last year.
And nothing went well, you know? And I think the part that's super frustrating to me is when I look back, one of my most enjoyable weekends was grid life and driving and getting in the M4 and doing what I thought was the closest to professional racing than I possibly could. And it wasn't in the S2000.
Yeah.
You know, so part of me says the R34 was perfect. We go any further with it outside of maybe exhaust, and you start to lose, I think, some of the very things that made the car so enjoyable, which was hop in at any time, get comfortable, turn the radio on, turn the AC on,
have a good time,
and drive across the country. The fact that I can't do that with like any other one of my cars right now is super frustrating because it's what made me fall in love with the R34 and the Gloria so much. It's just the right amount, which is it's a tough thing because we want to overbuild.
And I feel like the Gloria was decently extensive on modifications. Like it was a full manual swap and stuff, but
I also had to kind of swallow a little bit of pride though, because I leaned on driver to do some things that I just couldn't do. Right. And it's like social media and YouTube wants you to do everything. I go on my YouTube Explorer, dude, and it's like the thumbnail photos of people is like taking apart every single piece of an E36 to restore it in under 20 minutes. It's like, holy fuck, dude. That is a massive video that you were doing. It would take us
like a year to film.
And it's like these guys, like the level of YouTube on some of these cars, man. I mean, it's no wonder it's hard to see the success of sometimes like the more moderate, simple, easy entry like ways to modify a car. I mean, the R34 series didn't do wicked numbers, right? Is it because it wasn't like the most extreme version of it? Was it because we didn't like what do you think would cause it?
100%. And everyone, I mean, it's kind of, you know, without saying, it's like, we didn't go absolutely insane with the car. So, I mean, I didn't expect insane numbers either. But in the back of my mind, it's like, I'm totally okay with that. Because it's like, we are the one of however many channels that aren't trying to do that. It's like, I would much rather build, in my opinion, a perfect car for us than try to do something that we're not capable of. And then like it just gets all weird and all that kind of stuff. It's like the 20, 30,000 people that did watch it, thank you. That's like I'm glad that you enjoyed that and followed along with the series, because I feel like that's still putting it out there that there still is achievable shit out there on YouTube, and it doesn't need to be all the craziest shit that you've ever seen in your life. I like seeing that stuff. I'm glad that stuff's out there because it is super cool to see, but I also really like watching this stuff personally, and it's like, you know, that's where I want to fit in.
100%. I like the fact that it's relatable, but I do wish, because like I go back and I watch it, I really enjoy those episodes. I think it was special for us. I'm glad we have those episodes for us, and like what really kicked off MartiniWorks and got us going between the E46 and the GT-T. Those were cars that we took on. And remember, like I know when you watch content, it kind of looks like what we're doing right now is our full-time job, but we sell automotive parts for you guys, so you guys have access to that, and that takes a lot of time outside of this, and that's really our full-time job, right? Is making sure we can get you guys car parts at a good price, and we're promoting the stuff that we enjoy. So it's kind of like doing those builds. It's like we try to squeeze that in on top of doing all of our normal day-to-day stuff that we have to. It's a small group we got here, we don't have a full-time mechanic. We got Gels juggling 45 projects and trying to get that done. He's working on stuff on the website. We're working on content. We're filming videos, and he's installing coilovers on the GT-T.
It's always so funny, it's like we're about to go home for Thanksgiving. The conversation's coming. Oh, so you do YouTube for a living?
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
It's like I do YouTube as part of my job, yes, but yeah, and it is tough to see. Obviously, if you only know us from like the content side of things, like it's like, well, no, they do YouTube, they do TikTok, they're content creators. Like, yes, we are, but like Dakota said, it's just a part of everything.
If we just focused on video, I think it would be an entirely different thing. You'd be
100%,
right now, because the videos are sometimes like the smaller portion of what we focus on in any given week.
Not that we care about them less, but it's just like,
well, no, it's not that we don't care about them, but it's the concept of understanding. And I'm sure you guys and gals that have tried making videos or content or shorts, or you're a photographer or content creator, you get this too. It's like, if I just spent one more hour,
right? Yeah.
If I just had one more camera, and you start to fall into that loop of, at what point do you slap something out and ship it? And at what point do you continue to try to refine and refine and refine? I mean, even personally making content myself, it's like, I know what videos could go and do 100,000, 200,000, 400,000 views on a pillar video, but I want to show them this experience of like Ibisu. And so I just dropped this video talking about like the history of Ibisu and like putting a bunch of sound design into it and trying to focus on like the environment. And it's like, I know that video is going to get like 4,000 views. It is, and it's like, bitch,
it is like, it always goes that way. I know we've talked about it in the past. It's like, it does seem like the videos that we get most excited about and stuff that like really means the most to us for some reason, and it's unfortunate that it is that way, but they tend to do not as good as like the another video, right?
Yeah.
And then it sucks because it's like, man, you put like so much time and so much money and like so much just effort and dedication to a video like that because you're really passionate about it and really love it, and then it's like, it gets like 4,000 views, and then we go put a chicken nugget and exhaust, and it gets like 5 million views, and it's like,
hey, I worked hard on putting.
I know
the chicken
I
nugget
didn't say
in
you
the
didn't.
exhaust.
I didn't say you didn't.
There's a lot of emotion that went into that.
Right, the song choice.
I spent days scripting that.
But sometimes maybe that's just the answer, right? Maybe the answer is people just don't need that or don't want that.
The thing is, though, I think it's important we keep doing videos like that. Because
exactly.
Let's say we have Alex talk about the history of a vehicle and educate people for 20 minutes, and that does 50, 60, 70, 100,000 views. Awesome. But the 4,000 people that watched our GT-T episode of taking it to the track, I think those people really fuck with us and they enjoy what we're doing, and they're here to modify their car in that way. And maybe, the other 20,000 people that didn't watch it aren't going to mod their car in that way. Yeah. And I still think there's always room for us to improve. I'm not saying we're busting out the perfect, most cinematic, fucking movie style videos. We're not. We're a team of dudes.
Three. Right now, it's
three of us went to the track. 4 of us were there total.
With Mario, yeah.
We're running around with our heads chopped off. Gels is trying to install stuff. I'm trying to film stuff. And honestly, too, like, I'm not a cinematographer by trade. I never was. I did photography professionally, but I never did video professionally.
Never went to school for this.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I still love making videos, but I never learned that full. So it's like you're seeing the real us when you watch those videos. Yeah. And I think there's so much to improve, but I'm still glad that we do them. And if you did watch it, thank you.
Yeah. I do think, as we go into 2025, we'd love your guys' help on what you'd like to continue seeing us do. If it's going out there and doing things or experiencing things or going to California to see the culture or doing more interview content. Like we really value that stuff because we do listen. Like Dakota and I and Gels, like we'll shoot comments or screenshots of what you guys say, like back and forth to help build what we think is best. Because at the end of the day, the core and what allows us to continue doing this podcast and those videos is when people mod their car at MartiniWorks.com. Yep. And having us help you do that is what we value more than anything else. Yep. And if there's a way that you guys want to see that content or you want to see us build more cars and get we don't care. As long as it is what you guys really enjoy, like watching and listening to. That, to us, is the most important thing. Because we're not going to come out and just do excess in the sake of doing excess. I think YouTube has really
they got enough of that.
They've really encouraged that behavior, and it's just not us. It's not in like our Midwest blood to do that. Unfortunately, at least for me, it feels uncomfortable. It feels weird. But continue to tell us what you want. With that being said, we do have to take another small break, but not before talking about our next sponsor for the MartiniWorks podcast. Dakota, you want to take it away?
Dude, I love Fortune Auto. I'm not even crapping in your pants about it.
Tell me about it.
We got Black Friday sale. Don't forget, exclusive MartiniWorks. So now is the time to pick up Fortune Autos. If you've never had a set of Fortune Autos, do it. And I'm not even joking. 500 series, you're going to be perfect. I think 500 series is going to cover 95% of the people probably listening to this podcast. If you're a track animal, 510s for sure. But I know, all right, listen to me. I know you guys, Fortune Autos are a little bit more expensive than the other options. You get what you pay for, all right? Dude, I mean it. Fortune Autos, they're 100% worth that extra price. And I'm not saying that. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. Oh. I love them. I've driven. Okay. All right. I've driven them across the country. I've had them on the track. I've autocrossed them. I've had them on the drag strip, and they've always performed phenomenal. I've never had an issue with install or anything on any of my vehicles. It has always just been perfect. I was buying Fortune Autos before I ever worked for any automotive company. So like that tells you, right? Like they weren't sponsoring me. I had fucking 200 followers, and half of them was my family and friends. And I was buying Fortune Autos and posting pictures and installing them. They were on my Evo 10, my Focus ST, my Toyota Supra, and I'll put them on my next vehicle too because I love Fortune Auto. And if you guys have a daily driver you want to soup up, maybe they did release their off-road line. Yeah. So they're expanding. They're going into other platforms too, and they're just making them more available in general. So go check them out. You can get them at MartiniWorks.com, and I can't recommend them enough.
Breaking news that we haven't spent enough time talking about. I think it's important for the podcast listeners to be a part of the Jaguar rebrand.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we remembered and we forgot about it just as fast as their last refreshed Jaguar model. What are our thoughts on it? Have you watched the commercial?
Yeah, I've watched the commercial, and then they did like a press conference too that we caught a little bit of.
Here's my thoughts. Jaguar... Jag had to do something. They were being forgotten about. This is the most Jaguar's been talked about in years and years and years and years. So from a marketing perspective,
it's kind of working.
You got attention. Okay, it's how you capitalize off the attention, though. Okay, can you actually do something? Can you? We've seen this before, right? I mean, it's a marketing tactic. You do something that's very brash, out of the box, different, and everyone's like, "What the is going on?" Now they need to capitalize on it. And I haven't seen anything that has remotely gotten me even a little bit excited from Jaguar.
Yeah. I'll be paying attention to it for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not excited about it.
With Jag, I was confused. I've been confused on the brand for some time. I feel like the F-Type was the right direction in the right model, the right price range. It was good. And then they released like the SUV, and I was like, good, kind of taking one out of Porsche's book.
Everyone needs an SUV.
It was good. It was good looking. And then like they're like, okay, we're going to do the F-Type and the SUV again. And then they did it. And then they're like, okay, it worked. We're going to do the F-Type and the SUV a third year, then a fourth year, then a fifth year, then a sixth year, then a seventh year. And they're like, eventually people are like, when are you going to introduce something new, like a new design? Like, we're going to make it electric. It's like, okay, sick, but what about the tech inside the car? Like, no, still the same. So they made this EV
I didn't
SUV,
even know that.
Yeah. And it's kind of sort of, it felt like it just kept getting more diluted and diluted and diluted. I was halfway convinced that like their rebrand was just going to be a montage of Jeremy Clarkson saying Jag. And I was like, I would have been just as hooked, man. And it's like, I totally get that these guys are trying to like freshen it up, but it almost kind of feels like I don't know, the wrong direction. I feel like my generation is getting hit with the blame, calling it millennial rebranding.
Okay. Here's the other thing: is who's Jaguar's customer base? It's not us, I don't think. Maybe Alex. He likes some of them European fancy cars.
Not anything new though. Like the F-Type R was cool.
So it's like, are they hitting their audience with what they want? Maybe, I don't know.
What should the Jag audience be?
I don't know. Is it like where price wise does Jag come in compared to Porsche?
Below.
Yeah. So Jag is like somebody that wants a fancy European car but can't afford a Porsche,
or an Aston, or literally any other British car. right? I mean, it's like a British premier
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah.
I'm confused
feel
too
like
because
I
the only
don't- I
person I know that owned an F-Type was Jacob Kaiser and fucking Sterling Feathers.
Yeah.
Those are the only two people I
Yeah.
know that
I
own
know,
a
I don't-
fucking F-Type.
Yeah.
They're
It's
not
like
common.
I wouldn't even be able to tell you like 5 years ago who Jaguar's audience was because I never fucking seen them.
Yeah, who wants them? Yeah, I don't even see
I just
them.
feel like they
I'm
were
never
nev-
looking either.
I just
but-
right, but I feel like just generally.
But
like,
who's the new audience then?
I don't know. That's what they're trying to figure out, I guess.
Because like the creative, artistic, like branding.
like it's cool, right? But like
but you're
I don't
not.
know if I don't know if it's Jaguar though.
But it's like okay, I want to have something that's gonna capitalize on like that Cali energy, excitement, and color.
Sure.
Porsche Macan. Oh no, I want to get it back to like that British excellence and perfection. Aston Martin. I want to be the poor man's choice for an exotic performance car. Maserati. It's like they don't have any place to go in like the market
Yeah, I
sphere.
think Maserati's a good one to compare them to.
Yeah.
Because at least Maserati, you know the Maserati audience. You know who's buying a
Yeah.
Maserati,
Yeah.
right? It's like, where's Jag supposed to go?
I don't know. They're not. I don't know. They're gonna have to
I guess
kill
I
it
mean,
with this
th-
EV or something.
Yeah, their
that they're
whole
coming
thing
out.
is like we're not copying any. They're doing their own thing is like
Okay.
what they're kind of going out on a limb for.
That's a Hyundai. Like every Hyundai,
I wouldn't say Hyundai's going out on an own limb.
Hyundai, Kia, absolutely. The Ioniq 5 and like all their new
Sure.
styling on some of their stuff. It's
Sure.
all like that
Weekender.
Cybertron like
Yeah.
looking thing.
I would
That's
say
what they're-
within like the recent year or so, but like for a long time they were just copying everything that everyone else did, like to the T.
Yeah, true. I suppose that's true. There's something about when people say that they're going to be original and they're not going to follow any trend.
Yeah.
You are almost pretty much putting subtitles underneath the tagline saying we're going to fail. Because when you're so far out of the beaten path, you don't win.
You don't relate to anything.
Because the only reason I would argue that like somebody like a Tesla who was so outside of it, you know, in terms of when Tesla really started and getting that mainstream attention, well, it was Elon Musk.
That's what I was gonna
And
say.
then he kept doing exactly what he said he was going to do. So it was more so about a person proving like the entire world wrong more than it was just about a brand
And the
proving the
product.
world wrong.
When you're that outside of the beaten path, you need to do something that is groundbreaking.
Yes.
Something that is like revolutionary. You know, like something new that blows people away. Otherwise, that's not going to work. You know, otherwise it's too polarizing. It's too weird. People have comfort in some of the same stylings and stuff like that. So
and they don't have the budget to do something like that.
if
right?
Jaguar doesn't
Yeah.
do something fucking mind blowing, I consider it's probably going to be a fail.
But that's what it's like. I look at it. I don't see anything that I don't see someone else already doing. And what makes me so fearful is that EV technology has not progressed enough for them to come out with something revolutionary. They're not going to come out with like a new technology.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that to come from Jaguar.
Yeah, they're not going to make, we have a new battery and our car can go 800 miles, you know, or like something like that where it's like,
Yeah.
it's double the range of any other. There's no way.
Yeah.
That's going to be based off like Ford tech or Tesla tech
Mm-hmm.
or Mercedes tech, which is all the same right now because the batteries are all made the same because there's no other way
Mm-hmm.
to do that battery technology right now.
And let's say just been hiding
Yeah,
some
what if
shit.
they've just been cooking this whole time? And that's why we
Part
haven't heard of
Part
them.
of me hopes that they are, right? Like I'd love to see
And then
like,
they
a big-
pounce.
Yeah. like a- exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I don't see it.
I just don't like it. I think yeah, you're right. The noise is cool. It's a big marketing thing. It hit, but I don't think it's
Seeing a lot of it going around. Now it's starting to quiet down already, though. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like they better
That's the thing. is
Follow it
it-
up
better
with
do
it.
something.
Did they give like a timeline of like, hey, this is when we're like announcing everything,
Early
or was it
December.
just we're gonna drop this really weird fucking ad and then we'll see you
I
later?
don't follow Jaguar.
Early
They probably
December.
won't.
I just don't like the comments that Jag is putting out on their like X. People are like, this is the worst thing ever, and they're like, never broken, always original. Like that's how they're responding to like the criticism comments, and it's like it's such a millennial response.
Yeah,
to it.
I don't like it.
I'd rather they just start like shit posting.
Yeah,
I think that'd be more fun.
I have almost. There's been a number of times where I've almost come to you, Dakota. I've been like, I need YouTube and Instagram to be what we've been doing because I really like it. It's fucking kicking ass. Go shit post on TikTok, and I just want like for
Tell
a
him,
month,
tell him,
and I
tell
just
him.
want to see what Dakota does.
Let them loose.
The problem
Let
is
'em off the leash.
The problem is there was an art to shit posting.
There kind of is, yeah.
Was. I think it's dying out because what happened was the beauty of it was that you have a brand and that they would never do this.
Yeah.
and then they did it. And it was like, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe the Buffalo Bills just did a shit meme post, and it's hilarious.
Right.
But now when you have fucking 400 companies doing it, it kind of loses its bite a little bit.
I have the Packers posting about hot piss.
The Green Bay Packers are trying to shit post, which I love for it. It's funny. But it just like everybody's trying to hop on that a little bit.
Doesn't hit the same.
They are still like corporate multi-billion-dollar companies.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they're still like plugging their own thing in the comments. I don't know if you've ever noticed that too. Yeah. Like they'll shit post and then like Google will
but
comment.
it has a call to action though.
But Google will comment and be like, not even our Google image search could pick this up. And it's like, dude, fuck off, dude. Come on. Jesus Christ. I can't go anywhere without getting a fucking
like it
ad.
though. I do like it. I like that companies have gotten more lighthearted and like I can watch that shit and it's funny.
I tell you what though, it is really funny to me though, because like you'll go through, there was a trend on TikTok for a while. It's like the who will you be tonight thing, and it's like all of the people of like our age and younger who are like working these like super corporate jobs, and they have like the TikTok account for like fucking Microsoft on their phone, and it's like, that's me, and it's just some 24-year-old corporate girly, and she's like, that's me. like it's so funny that's like the reality of so many of these like billion-dollar businesses out there. There's like, oh yeah, I guess we need a TikTok. Yeah, just make fucking TikTok.
I just think it's so weird because we've been a part of the marketing world of like the internet for enough time now, where it's like you see it, right? You see the shift to where now it's becoming expected, right? The shit posting of Wendy's is the shit posting of Wendy's. They still don't get a pass. I still won't shop there or eat there because they tried to introduce dynamic pricing, and I just think that's fucked. Now,
you can't talk shit on social media when you try to introduce dynamic pricing for food.
Yeah, I think that's stupid. But at the same time, you do have to ask yourself, like, so then what's next? What's like the authentic way to talk about your product or like your brand? It's a marketing thing, I guess. But like, I just get so confused when I see companies like at Formula One, even this weekend for like Las Vegas. These companies have no idea what they're doing. They just know that they need social media presence, and they'll bring fucking anyone out. And they'll bring whoever's got the biggest following, and then these influencers post the most out of touch shit at Formula One. Yeah. And then the Formula One audience on social media that sees this is like, who the fuck is this? Like the amount of people.
It's like, this is why the tickets are so expensive. If I can't go, is because they bring these kind of people out here that don't even know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. By the way, internet, I'm proud of you because you do absolutely shit on those people that are making these posts that are like, oh my God, I forgot how hot all the Formula One drivers are. And then all the and it's a girl that posted it about the guys. And then all the comments are all these Formula One women that like make content and follow the sport and are super involved and want to be a part of it, are like, fuck you. This is you playing into the stereotype of like what guys think girls think about with Formula One. And then these brands are endorsing it by bringing them out because they just need to have some sort of like presence. It's just weird.
It gets really gross really quick. I don't like it.
I will say the legend, Dustin Williams went out with, I believe, like Cash App or Zext vodka or whatever. That was super rad to see because I think that was his first time ever going to a Formula One event. I have never seen Dustin Williams cheese in photos as much as he was cheesing in his carousel photos that he did at Formula One Las Vegas with like Yuki and all of that. I just thought that was super rad.
That's one that deserves it. He's good.
Dustin makes such good content.
Anyway,
genuine guy.
Volkswagen American CEO suddenly resigned.
Wait, hold up. What?
That's not good.
Volkswagen America CEO?
He's
That's
out.
Not good.
What happened?
Anytime a
was it the bus thing? Did he not agree with the bus thing?
The picture was with him in the bus. Anytime a Volkswagen executive resigns without like a 90-day warning, you know they're about to get sued into oblivion.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Dude, every time.
Is it Dieselgate 2.0?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know how Volkswagen gets sued so often and their executive team changes hands so often compared to Toyota getting sued every 16 seconds, and yet it's the still same executive team that's been there for like the last 30 years.
There's going to be some tea on Volkswagen coming out real soon.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on.
That's funny.
I have a question for you guys.
Hit me with it.
Very important question for the masses.
Turkey.
How do you make Jeep not suck.
Drop the price by about $40,000.
Yeah. Honestly, that would solve a lot.
If those vehicles came base at like $20K,
yes,
would not have a problem.
I'd be like, that's
the
fair.
problem
That's a
is that they're
solid vehicle.
like $50,000-$60,000,
and they stay there.
And they stay there forever.
Yep.
And I don't get
and
it.
you get nothing.
And they're shit.
You get nothing out of that.
I just feel bad that I talk shit about brands like Hyundai and Kia from time to time, and yet they're the only ones introducing like affordable performance cars and sports-ish cars for people like us. And then at the very same time, I criticize people that are fucking making $60,000 Jeeps. It's like, pick a fucking lane, Alex.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going.
You know what I mean?
It depends on how you feel that day, I guess. Yeah. No, I will never understand the Jeep thing. And my wife owns one, and she loves it.
It's the
but I
it's
can't.
the iPhone of off-road vehicles. It's just like they come out with a new one. It's exactly the same. There might be one slight difference.
They move.
It's going to be more expensive than its competitors, and everyone's just going to buy it because it just says JEEP on it, and you can put a fucking duck on the steering wheel.
Yeah. What if Jeep was a food? What kind of food would it be?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh. Something that's got like a crazy cult following and no one.
Oh, I got it. Raw oysters.
Raw oysters.
They're
really
expensive. It's perceived as kind of upper tier, fancy, and you eat it and you're like, this is a fucking booger. That's snot. Yeah. I just ate snot.
Olive Garden.
That's not food.
It is. Well, you're
It's
right.
A restaurant.
That.
You want to say olives?
No, okay. Olive Garden in general. Olive Garden, Jeeps.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say.
I like the salad.
I was gonna say sushi at those fusion restaurants in California.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like sushi for some reason.
I know exactly what you mean.
$36, and it's like, why? Yeah. How is that? Like, sushi's not intended to be that expensive.
And it's still, it's just imitation crab.
And it's still imitation crab, and it's the still fucking same sriracha that I get from Mega West. Like, there's nothing special about it. Yeah. That's what I would say. What would you guys say if Jeep was that food? Then what is Toyota?
As a food?
Mm-hmm.
Toyotas. See, this is tough. You gotta. Let's narrow it down a little bit because you did a specific. Oh, I guess Jeep is a brand. When I hear Jeep, I think of the Wrangler. And that's about it.
That's all they have.
Okay, Toyota cars.
All they have that people care about.
Toyota cars. I would say.
Never see this man's thinking. It's getting warm in here.
Fucking locked in.
Yeah, we don't have to turn the heater on anymore.
Shit.
Wah, the fans kick on.
Yeah.
Gels, do you have an answer yet?
Trying to think of another Italian place that's better than Olive Garden, but not super fancy. Ooh,
you keep answering with restaurants.
I got one.
That's all I know.
I got one.
Right, yeah, hit us with
Toyota is like that Mexican food truck you find at 2 a.m. on a popular like bar street where you know it's gonna be good, but you're gonna really pay for it, and you're kind of upset that the tacos are $5.50 a taco.
Where are you finding $5 tacos? I want to go. Mine are always like $8.
Yeah, dude, the prices are insane on tacos.
Diablo Taco is like $5.50.
No, they're expensive. I love Diablo's tacos. I have one right by my house, and it's amazing, but it's expensive as fuck.
I went to Bowl 91 and it was $90 for Becca and I.
Yeah, Bowl 91's delicious. Though.
This is soup. How?
That's why I'd say Toyota is ramen, but from a ramen shop, not your 99-cent ramen packs. Because you go, it has kind of a smorgasbord in it.
Yeah.
It's calming. Yeah. It's relaxing.
But it's not over
and
the
you
top.
know it's going to be fire.
Yeah.
I'm just still not. I feel like Toyota gets way too much pass on their really basic interiors. And I still don't know how to feel about it. I was looking at like 2022 4Runners and like Tacomas and stuff like that.
Sure.
Copier.
I'm looking at it, and then I look on the inside. I'm like, oh, okay, it kind of looks dated. So I go look at a 2015, same exact fucking interior.
It is.
Like,
Yeah, you're right.
what the hell? Gels?
Oh, man, dude. Toyota as a food. It's the chili that we make once a week. It's solid. It gets the job done. It never lets me down.
It's good.
But
But you have it every week.
But I have it every week, so it gets a little bland, you know?
I get it.
With that being said, you guys let us know what food type Toyota and Jeep are, and we'll use that as our very exciting conversation for the podcast next week. With that being said, if you are looking for Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday deals, please check out MartiniWorks.com. We got some awesome stuff from Fortune Auto. We got stuff with Conce. We got stuff with Stage Wheels, Continental Tires, K&N, InGen, Valvetronic, all sorts of good stuff. Only the good deals. And if you need help with modifying your car, you can reach out to us over on the website. Carissa, Hamby, myself, Gels, we'll all be out there trying to help as many people as we can. We'd love for you to mod your car with your friends at MartiniWorks.com. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and we'll see you next week.
Team Turkey.
I'm so hungry now.
Me too.